And so that's the idea. And I think part of life in general, and let's say achieving success, is about how badly do you want it, and are you willing to weather the storm of when things get crazy.
What would you say is the number one key for clients in your program to achieve targets that you set out?
Yeah, it's really having a step-by-step process. We've been doing this for a little while, so we really understood the journey of what someone's supposed to go through. So we have a brand new coach. Doesn't matter their skill set, doesn't matter their knowledge. They just go through our easy to follow, proven process from the back end. And this is how we can ensure people actually do get those results. So, set up the Facebook group, understanding that they know how to get people into the group, knowing how to set up the content calendar to nurture them, really understanding how to conversate with them, book calls, getting onto those calls, knowing what to do there, and essentially getting those contracts signed and processing some payments.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with coaches in general is they don't have someone to hold them accountable. And what happens is I wouldn't even say accountable, but they hit these walls. And I feel like we've worked with so many coaches by now that we know which walls they're going to hit. And so when you have someone in your corner who could, whether it's a tech issue, whether it's a sales issue, whether it's an offer issue, I think part of our whole client success journey is we know where the dead ends are. And when we help our clients not go down that dead end, they're able to continuously move through the process to get the end result and the target that they're looking for.
Yeah, and that's massive too. We've had so many coaches just join our program just for that one-on-one accountability and the culture that we have for the rest of the community. Whether you're starting this brand new, where you're just jumping into the process, and you're getting results, or you're getting questions from or answers from Dan and myself, or you're getting information from people that are a couple months ahead of you doing the same process that actually have those results. Just such a massive thing.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about the community? What can I expect from my peers that are also in the program?
Yeah, so the community actually has been a massive selling feature for us. A lot of coaches get started and they don't actually have a lot of other support people or coaches, people that are there to actually support you and boost you up and motivate you. And so for us, I've heard it all the time, some of the coaches that see some of the questions in our support chat, they're not even thinking about that stuff yet. It's so far out of their radar, but to see it and to have those questions from people that are a couple steps ahead of you, it's just such a beneficial factor, right?
Yeah, I think a community is so vital to growth. Again, I'm always gonna go a little bit macro, but I think, again, the biggest challenge that most coaches don't have is a community. We talk about this within our coaching program, the law of 33, where you should spend 33% of your time with some type of coach or mentor or someone who is chapters ahead of you of where you're currently at. It doesn't matter about age, just chapters ahead of you, right? Then you should spend a third of your time actually mentoring people, right? So you are the mentor. And then you should spend a third of your time with people on the same level as you, or playing in the same chapter as you. It creates that competitive edge, right? Your mentor or your coach can only motivate you so much. But what we've noticed is when you're around other people that are at the same level, one person, just had a sales call and it didn't do well, and then someone else had a sales call, it didn't do well, and then they're talking about it and they're trying to figure it out. Then a week later, one person signs up a client and they're motivated to do it. That community aspect is what is extremely needed for someone's evolution and growth. And I find that it's unbalanced for a lot of people. It's either they're always with people that are so far ahead of them, they don't even believe it's real, or they're always just mentoring people. And then they feel like they're, the best thing since sliced bread. And so having an equal balance between the three is, I think, the biggest aspect of our community. And we're also like filters, right? So the way we've designed our business, especially our coaching program specifically, where you're working personally with us, we're very picky with who we bring in. We treat it almost like a master coaching family. And so because of that, we only want to have people that are ambitious, genuine, honest, ethical, solution-oriented. And so because of that, when you're in that environment, you just thrive so much more.
Yeah, and the support, right? Support from everybody, support from other people in the community, pardon me. It's so interesting, right? You make a post, you have people from our community reaching out, supporting you, letting you know what really works for them, and giving you constructive criticism and feedback on how you can actually improve things. Whether it's from us, whether it's from people that actually have the results in the community, you're getting the most amount of support you can get.
Yeah.
So I'm a busy mom with 3 kids and I have a full-time job and I really want to get this business going. How are you going to support me to ensure that I'm still able to commit time to this every week while not letting all the other aspects of my life fall out of place?
Yeah, the interview that Dan did with Steve, he actually talked about my relentlessness there. For us, weekly calls, you know what I mean? I'm going to make sure that you have the appropriate tasks and targets. I'm following up with you regularly. We don't let people slip through the cracks. We see this so many times in other coaching programs. People don't respond, or people don't show up to the coaching calls, and they just, they slip through the cracks. But for us, we have a process. We know exactly what to do. We see people, we know when they're engaging, we know when they're kind of, getting cold. And so, for us, for someone who's really passionate and knows that they have the talent, anybody that joins our program, we've just proven this time and time again. It's a clear process. You put a certain amount of hours in per day, and you're all good to go.
Yeah, I think it's more of a belief thing too. It's just like, oh, my situation is different, therefore I can't get the result, right? And so, again, what I love about our program, and we don't choose our clients, we just attract certain people, but we have a good chunk of individuals who have a family, have a full-time job, and have a lot of commitment. But what we've noticed, the common trend with all these coaches, obviously, is building their coaching business is extremely important for them. And so it's not really a time issue. I think it's more of a priority issue. And so what we find is that you might have all these beliefs that naturally hold you back. I think I talk about this all the time, but I'm a big advocate. I've spent a lot of time in my door-to-door sales job talking to a lot of people in their 70s and 80s, and their biggest regret is that they didn't do more when they had the energy in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or 20s. And so I find that we are individuals that can accomplish a lot. We just have to prioritize everything. If you're around people that are not building a coaching business, and they're like, oh, I'm so busy, I got so much stuff going on, there's no way I could do that. And then you spend time with people who are like, yeah, I have a family, I have a full-time job, I have all these responsibilities, and I'm also enrolling clients in my coaching business. The reality of you changes. You start to be like, so how are you doing this? Oh, so before I start work or after work or around 3 to 5, I focus deep work on this. And what happens is, again, you start to join a community, and the beliefs you have to naturally shift because you're joining a new community. And so I think that's what happens. But we find our best clients are the ones that have a lot of responsibility. It's like, if you ever heard the line, if you want to get the job done, give it to a busy person, because they're getting things done, right? And so that's the idea. And so when you come and join the group, I think one of the biggest things is the strategy is easy to find. Sure, the accountability might not be that easy, but I think the community is what really changes who you are. It's like whenever you join any type of community, it's like you naturally evolve with the thoughts of how the whole community thinks, right? So if everyone's like, this is not possible, that I can't do that, that's not real, then that's going to become the way you see it. But if you talk to other people, they're like, yeah, you know what, like life's crazy, but I still make this work. And then you're like, you know what, that's a great way to think about it. Or it's just like, even with us, like health is very important. And so like people will like post pictures of them in the gym, even though they have so much stuff going on. But you will join that community and then naturally evolve. Anything that you want to say to that?
No, it's a great point. I think the beliefs are a big part of that. And like you said, like we do already have existing clients that have a full-time job, that have kids, that have other responsibilities, and they're still thriving through the process. So yeah, make your decision and commit to it.
Yeah.
Okay, what would you tell a client who has, they're feeling kind of defeated and they come to you and they say, I just can't do this anymore?
Great question.
Yeah, it's a great question, and we've kind of faced that. There's a lot of things that happen through the coaching industry. You book a lot of calls, people don't show up. You book a lot of calls, people agree to pay, and then they back out last minute. There's a lot of things that come with coaching. And so for us, my big line, if you've seen Greg's interview or testimonial, I'm glad, that this is happening to you. Good this is happening to you, because, if you can weather the storm, it's not going to be easy, but if you can weather the storm, as your coaching continues, as your journey in entrepreneurship continues, you've handled that, you've addressed that. This is something that is inevitable. And I think, feeling unmotivated, right, and going through this process of really struggling, I feel like this is exactly what everyone has to go through. And this is why everyone's not ultimately cut out to be an entrepreneur. But for us, we're glad that you're going through those challenges, because like I said, if you can get through them, this is how you become relentless, this is how you become bulletproof, and this is how you ultimately can deserve that success that you're going to amass.
Yeah, I think it's a few different things. So a big I guess law in my life or belief is that it's about deserving something. So you think about, what is the percentage of coaches that make 6 figures a year, 10,000 a month or 8,000 a month? 5%, maybe 10%. And so I'm a big advocate of, if you want to accomplish things that most people can't accomplish, you're going to have to go through things that most people quit on. And so to me, my belief is, if I persevere through a time where most people quit, I end up getting the thing that they all are, are trying to achieve because I am pushing through the hard times. And so that's the idea. And I think part of life in general, and let's say achieving success, is about how badly do you want it, and are you willing to weather the storm of when things get crazy. And so I think that's the biggest thing as well, is that part of becoming an inspiration is going through such craziness and coming out the other side. That's how you build admiration. That's how you become a motivating individual. If you're just like, yeah, I started a coaching business and things were simple and things are great and I made lots of money and yeah, it was pretty easy. It's not rooted in reality. That's not usually how it goes. And we even talk about the best coaches are the ones with the craziest backstory, right? You hear, we have coaches who went through addiction, who went through almost death, they lost 200 pounds, they bankruptcy, those, like, for me was my speech, and I was depressed and suicide. Like, all this stuff is what makes you a great coach. And so if you think about it, if you're, it's tough to be a good coach and be like, yeah, my life was pretty easy. Oh, I don't really know what challenges you're going through. Like, what is a good coach? I know what you've been through. I was in those shoes, and this is who I am now. And that's how you inspire people. And so it's the same thing with business. If you're just like, I started a business, made lots of money, things are great. It's like, that's not inspiring. That's not what's going to make you great, right? If you look at anyone that you look up to, you'll always see their story. And so even when you work with us, our job is to pull out your story. And so you're going to have your own personal story with coaching. And then I think another great thing is having your story becoming a coach. That's a new level. And so I think it's all part of the game. So that's the idea. Anything from you?
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned like being a good coach. Like, we've been in the space now for a long while, so we've gone through everything that you're gonna go through. And the last piece to this is, we're not your friends. We're not gonna tell you what you want to hear. We're gonna tell you what you need to hear in order to really take off and allow this to be successful. So that's all I got.
Well, we'll see you very soon. My name is Daniel Francis.
Devin Harak.
We're the Master Coaching Team. And if you're liking this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you very soon.